Hey up troops, welcome back to the Litanah Army. I'm Lit and this is Fortnite Save the World, and what I want to mention today is modded weapons, and basically the way that, well, first of all the way that you get them, and also the big one that's in there at the moment, which is the Nature Jacko launcher. Everybody's going nuts for this weapon at the moment. I know Dante's covered it absolutely tons, and it's one of those things that everyone's going nuts about. But the thing is, you need to understand modded weapons to realize that it's all a big, it's all a big fanfare about nothing. Because at the moment, what you've got the legacy weapons first of all. Now the legacy weapons are basically weapons that haven't been changed when the perk update came. So when we got the perk update and all the perk recombobulator system came in and everything changed, people, you had a choice whether you wanted to upgrade your weapon or leave it as it was. I don't know why they did that, but still, people could leave the weapon as it was and they got the option. I'm sure many of you that have played the game a long time have seen that screen before. But if you leave the weapon as it is, then that's a legacy weapon. Now they're typically not as good, they're typically weaker than what the new weapons are, sorry. So what if you recombobulate it or you change the weapon to the new system, you usually end up with a much stronger weapon. I don't think there's any cases that I've personally seen where the original weapon is stronger, but they may be out there. I'm not certain on that. But what you'll find is, with the Nature Jacko launcher, the way this came about is, say if you accidentally put your weapon to obsidian. So you've got this Jacko launcher and you make the Jacko launcher obsidian. Now what actually happens with that is you could send off an email to Epic Games support, or you could send a support ticket out to them and ask them to change your weapon to Shadow Shard. Now I've actually done this myself on a few weapons, so I've accidentally, especially when I was a new player, made some weapons obsidian that I really needed to be Shadow Shard and needed to be something else. Most notably, my famous Silent Spectre, which is my favorite gun in the game, that's the one that I actually accidentally put to obsidian. I asked Epic Games if they'd change it. I think I gave them about 6 weapons, but they changed them all over for me, all in that one support ticket, which was great. So I got all the weapons changed to what I wanted to. Now all my weapons went absolutely fine and there was no issue there, but sometimes what can happen is they can actually add an element on there. So sometimes you can get double elements on there, sometimes they can change the element, and this is what happens with the Jacko launcher. Obviously the weapon comes with a fire element attached to it. Now what happens is with the fire element, when you asked for the change, so changing from obsidian over to Shadow Shard, some people, or a very small minority of people, there was a mistake at Epic Games' side and it changed it to nature. This person has obviously given this to a content creator, not just Dante, a Magical Gamer's covered it and a few of the others have covered it, and people are going crazy for them. I mean, the reactions from some people when they see these weapons is just insane. Now, I couldn't get hold of one for the video. I've got a lot of contacts in Save the World, and I couldn't find one. Just to give you an idea on how rare these are, they are super rare. You're very unlikely to even see one. However, if anyone's got one, by the way, let me know, because I'll give them away, and I'd love to do a video actually giving some of these away. I don't want to trade any of them. I just want to drop into the lower areas and probably give them away, just to show you guys people's reaction to these on video, because that would be so cool. But if you look at this now, what you'll find is with the actual Jacko launcher that is nature, it's no better than any other weapon. It's a status symbol. In fact, the Frost Knight banner is more of a status symbol than what a nature Jacko launcher is. All the nature Jacko launcher is showing you that Epic Games made a mistake, and yeah, I've got probably one of the rarest guns in the game. Now, the rarest gun in the game, I know Demon Joe did a video a long time ago about a Hydra that had bullet chain on it, and things like this can happen. So when Epic Games are changing them over, occasionally, and it's very occasionally, it's a rare thing, so I probably wouldn't even try it. It's not really worth it. It's unlikely to happen to you, but sometimes the weapon gets modified, so you could have double elements. So you might have energy on there and fire, or you might have water and fire on there. Now, the double element doesn't really matter. It doesn't really change anything. If you've got a double fire element on there, you're not going to get double the fire perks from it. You're not going to get, double the amount of extra element damage from it. It doesn't work like that. You're also only going to get use of the first perk. So if you've got fire and water, it's only going to work as a fire weapon still, even though the water perk is showing on there. In fact, if anything, if I were to personally get one, I would have to put a support ticket back and just say, this is different. I can't use this water perk. It's essentially like null and void now. So I need to change this. Now, lots of people have modded weapons, and in the scammer community, these things are super valuable. And I've seen someone actually trading a Nature Jacko launcher for, I think it was 27,000 Sunbeam. Now, I don't know if this is true. I've been speaking to some friends about this, and they were saying that the whole video was staged. It's not real. But because people have seen that video, and the video is super popular, what you've actually found now is that people are willing to pay up to 20,000 10,000 plus to get one of these Jacko launchers. Personally, I think this is a massive waste of time. If you're someone who's got 27,000 Sunbeam, right, the only way you would need that is if you're doing it through trading and you want to use it as currency. Sunbeam at the moment seems to be the currency in Fortnite Save the World, in the Fortnite Save the World scammer side of things. Now that's fine, Sunbeam's great, you know, you do need lots of it. I've got quite a bit, I've got nowhere near that amount, but I don't need that kind of amount, you know, I don't even need 10,000 Sunbeam. It's just not something that I would need for the amount that I play. I generate enough Sunbeam just by playing the game to make all the weapons what I want, whether it be 130s, 106s, whatever it may be. I just don't need that pure amount of Sunbeam. Now, if you're a trader, that's totally different. But surely, you know, the scammers must get to a point where the trading kind of becomes irrelevant and really not needed. For example, if you're going to trade, you know, if you've got all these weapons, if you've got a maxed out account and you've got a lot of weapons already, and you can craft all these weapons yourself, there's going to come a moment when you just don't need to trade. What would you possibly need other than to make videos? So if you've got a great armory and you've got loads of great stuff in your armory, you've got nearly all 130s, people will trade with you. That's great, and they'll beg for these god rolled guns and stuff, but at the end of the day, you don't really need them. Now, I think the best way to do this, if you actually get friends in the game, actual friends in the game, you know, you're more than welcome to join our Discord if you're watching this right now. We've got like nearly 5,500 members in our Discord, and you know, if you want to trade between friends when you're in a game, not on the Discord, but you know, if you're actually in a game or you're chatting with someone in a group and you say, for example, oh, I need 200 sleek, I've got nothing, you know, I've got nothing to make this with, or I need to make traps, have you got any planks, for example, then that's fine. I think that's actually the way the game's meant to be played, and I think that's the reason you can actually drop mats in game for people to use in a mission like that, or even to just help your friends out. I do it all the time. But the trading side of things always just gets me, like, as if to say, I don't really understand the fascination of it. Now, one thing I do see is the entertainment value. You know, you've got to admit, you know, some of these videos are actually really entertaining, even though you know that some of them are fake. When you hear kids screaming, shouting that the dad works for the FBI and things like that, of course, it makes for entertaining videos. But the actual modded weapon thing at the moment, guys, I wanted to put this video out just to say, don't trade that amount of Sunbeam or that amount of materials for a weapon like that. It's just a status symbol. Now, okay, if you've got 100k, you know, say if you've got 100k Sunbeam and you don't mind dropping 27,000 Sunbeam for a weapon that's gonna break, then go for it. For me personally, as a YouTuber and as a player of the game who plays the game properly, if I saw that level of Sunbeam dropping out of my inventory for anything, I'd probably cry a little bit. I would want something amazing. Think of the sheer amount of guns you could make with that amount of Sunbeam. You know, you could make loads and get more out of the game by playing the game, you know, and get other weapons. You know, you could farm reperk with all that Sunbeam. You could be farming, you know, all the perk ups that you need. You could be farming pure drops of rain, all the stuff that you need to make even more guns. You could fill up your backpack with great guns, great top tier guns from all that Sunbeam that you're going to drop. 27k Sunbeam is just nuts. I don't like, that's the bit of the game that just eludes me. I love the entertainment value of it, and I actually get the scammer gets scam meta, but what I don't get is how people are prepared to drop all their mats, and especially when they take so long to actually get hold of. Now, I know people right now that are actually taking the time to, you know, just go trading. So they just trade, or they log into the game, they've got no intention of doing any missions, they're still in Stonewood or they're in early Plankerton, and they just trade. They're just trading all day. It's almost like stocks and shares nowadays. And what happens is they just trade the weapons up so that they can get enough Sunbeam, then they can go to the person who can make these weapons and drop him all these things. Now, the person who can make these is actually, you know, a little bit, they're exploiting a little bit, because they're exploiting the glitch in the game, so they're running the risk of their account getting banned. But you know what? In their defense, Epic Games have made the mistake. It's not the player that's made the mistake. Now they're exploiting mats off the mistake, but Epic Games have put that in place so that they could do that. If Epic Games knew about these weapons or knew where they were from, then of course they would ban them players. And then the weapon being distributed doesn't really matter all that much. For example, if you were to get hold of a nature Jacko launcher, it wouldn't really make any difference to myself, because eventually you'll use that Jacko launcher and the durability will go on it and it'll be destroyed, or it'll just sit in your backpack, it'll just sit in your armory or wherever you want to put it, or sit in your storage, and it won't go anywhere. Nothing will happen to it. It'll just not get used. So it doesn't really have any massive impact in the game. It purely is a status symbol on rarity. And I understand that, you know, this game is about collection. It's about having, you know, being able to collect all the items, and, you know, there's even a collection book section of the game. And it's about being able to collect stuff like that. But the modded weapons just aren't. Don't get a modded weapon thinking it's one of the best weapons in the game. Rarest and best are two very different words for a reason. Just because something's really rare doesn't mean it's the best thing in the game. And if it's rarity you're going for and just a little flex that you want to get out there, that's great. I don't know how flexing an Epic Games mistake is really a flex. It's kind of an odd flex. But, you know, I know there's people out there that like that side of it, and I know that the trading meta is really big at the moment. But this video, guys, really is just to say, don't trade, you know, don't trade like that, you know, trade between your friends, trade between people you know, and, you know, trading mats is fine. But absolutely, I'm actually trading for 27,000 Sunbeam. That's too far, you know, that's a little bit crazy. That's a little bit on the crazy train, that one. You actually want to stay away from it. If someone wants to give it you for, you know, for mats value, then that's fine, of course, you know, get the Nature Jacko launcher. If they want to charge you double mats value, even that's exploiting you a little bit, but then go for it. But that's about as much as I would pay. I would probably go double mats value, and just because it's something that I can't get hold of myself, and that is it. But then saying that, I wouldn't even use it. I would never. I don't think there's ever a point where you're going to need an element launcher. You know, element launchers aren't a thing. You don't need them. You don't really need a fire launcher, which is why the Jacko's really limited. You know, you actually want a physical launcher, so don't put any element on it. Just go physical, you know, and just go with that, and just big impact, big damage, and physical, and you've got a great launcher. The Dam Buster would outperform that Nature Jacko. No matter what you put on that Jacko, the Dam Buster would outperform it. The Noble launcher would outperform it every day of the week. So it's kind of not something that you need. It doesn't really matter. It's not something that's going to affect you in game. You're paying for the rarity. You're paying with your time for the rarity of the weapon, and something that, again, probably won't be in the game long. There's going to come a point, especially when the game goes free to play, or if that nature weapon's ever seen or reported, for example, then it's going to catch you out, and you're potentially going to lose your account there, and nobody wants that. But guys, let me know your thoughts on modded weapons. You know, I like talking about this kind of stuff, and I like getting little discussions going on this. I've got nothing against modded weapons at all, but again, just don't think that the modded weapons are great. Typically, they are weaker, and even if it's not a legacy weapon, and it's just come back with a different perk on it, then, do you know what, no biggie, you know, that's it. I'd love to show them, like I said, I do want to see people's reactions to them, so if anyone has got one and they're willing to give me for mats value, then that's great. I'd love to give them away just to show people people's reactions, because I think that would make a great video. But guys, let me know in the comments below your thoughts. If you're not part of the Litanah Army already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and if you are one of the troops, make sure you hit that like button, and I will catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching today, guys.